We have corresponded.
Really?
I think for quite some time, but
I see.
I don't think we have met in person.
So Shakti, tell us about
Right. So
the work you do.
so currently I work in a company called Tarides.
A bit louder, please.
Okay. So at present we work in I work in a company called Tarides. We primarily work on the O'caml programming language. So the language has been in use for about 18 years now, but it has not had multi-core support. So last 3 years we've been actively working in IIT Madras and the University of Cambridge to add multi-core support. The merge has been completed recently. It was officially announced in the international conference on functional programming that was held a couple of weeks ago at Ljubljana in Slovenia. So my talk tomorrow is going to be on a little bit of the story of how this multi-core happened. Where does O'caml5, which is going to have multi-core support, stand today, and where developers can start to pick and write multi-core applications using this programming language. It is statically typed, it is type safe, so all the security and safety features come built in. That's good advantage, and we also care a lot about performance, and that's one of the reasons that it's something that developers should start looking at. We do have a lot of projects already written in production, like the Mirage OS, which is a library operating system, which is type safe. We have the Ermin database, which is like a Git-based file store, which you can use. We have matrix implementations for chat communication. So we have a lot of projects, and I think it's a good time for developers to start to pick that up. That's what I'm going to be talking about.
What's the involvement from India like?
India, people are not that much aware of O'caml. So that's one of the reasons that I want to pitch for it today. I also want to give a quick introduction to the O'caml programming language in the short time that I have, but it will be mostly on parallelism and concurrency.
You have a French connection also for this?
We closely work with our colleagues in Paris, and also we work with India in France. So,
what's India?
India is a premier research institute in France, which is funded by the French government.
I see.
And they also have good affiliations with French institutions, colleges. So O'caml was written by a French programmer and computer scientist called Xavier Loua. So the O'caml Software Foundation manages it, also funds the development of the language.
I see. That's very interesting. So
and all this is free, open source.
You were making the point earlier that youngsters are looking at community turning into jobs.
Yes.
And in India, it's a pressing need because funding is limited.
Yes and no. I mean, personally, most of the jobs that I have got were through the community networks that I had, and that's been a strong point for me. And the community has always survived, and it doesn't matter what happens. I think the community is very strong, the network is very strong, and will continue to survive, and will continue to make good progress.
This hybrid between community and corporate, is it a good thing, a bad thing, or a mix of both?
It is definitely a good thing. I think there has to be a lot of collaboration between academia and industry and the government as well. I don't think a single entity
can take it forward
to do that. I think a consortium, an alliance of all these players. I think people can have differences of opinion, but I think working together is what gives us bigger strength.
So what's the minimum to work together for all these different entities?
I think everybody has their own objectives.
Which are different and almost conflicting, no?
Yes, but how does a specific free open source project is useful to them? I think if we can make that page and help them understand that we provide training or documentation and ways of communicating with them, maybe have working groups that are specific to those areas, I think that will be really helpful.
Shakti, Tarides means something? T-A-R-I-D-E-S?
Yeah, so it represents the sails of the boat, which in the earlier days were used to sell camels.
I see.
And since we are working in the O'caml language, it's symbolic.
Okay. Very interesting. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.